All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast, real estate tip, where every single week I come to you delivering different tips, tactics, and strategies to help you get shit done in your real estate business to ensure that you are dominating and crushing your overall real estate goals. So today I'm here to talk to you about 5 highly effective FSBO strategies to help and allow you to go out there and get more listings. And look, I'm sure that we all want more listings. Listings allow a lot of efficiency in our business. There's a lot of leverage because we can go out there and, we got the sign calls coming in, potential open house opportunities if you and your agents are doing those, social media posting opportunities. So look, the listing side, not only do we get the commission off the listing side, but we can leverage those to other opportunities as well. So, and if you're going to go after listings and want to grow listing count, FSBOs always has been, it currently is, and my guesstimate always will be one of the better niches to go after to increase our listing count. Right? Just like, I'm not saying that FSBOs are vastly superior to expires. I like them both, and I'm going to go after them both, plus other hot niches where there's the highest probability of people needing to sell, where they have that urgency. Now, FSBOs have already said, hey, we need to sell. Maybe they don't want to utilize a real estate agent, which we'll talk about that. But they're like, hey, we're looking to sell. We need to sell. We want to sell. Very high probability of them transacting, getting that business. And statistically, also a very high probability of a real estate agent eventually getting that business. So if we look at the overall FSBO historic stats, only 8% of FSBOs historically sell successfully on their own. 92% end up not selling it all on their own. And then of those, 60% end up eventually listing with and selling successfully with a real estate agent. And why only 60%? Okay, if 8% sell, 92% don't sell on their own, only 8% do. Why does it go from 92 down to 60? Well, look, there's some that just have a change of heart. There's some that were just unrealistic. We've all seen those in our markets where they're, the FSBOs, 200 grand above, any God's green comp, that to exist, out there, or any comp on God's green, planet to exist out there. We all see those, right? But when we look at them, those are crazy, insane numbers. Every FSBO that you see, what I want you to get indoctrinated in your own mind is 60% of every one of those for sale by owners is eventually going to list and sell successfully with a real estate agent. 6 out of 10, 60%. So is it going to be you? Or are you going to allow your competitors to go out there and get those, right? So very effective source. Now, when it comes to any different lead generation source, any different niche that we're going after, it's really important in order for us to identify the right strategy that we're going to go out there and deploy. We need to understand timeline and psychology of each different source. So when we look at, okay, let's first talk about psychology when it comes to a FSBO, because the psychology allows us to, kind of structure our pitches, structure our overall strategy, what we say, how we say it, when we say it. It's really important to kind of meet them where they're at, right? So great marketers, great salespeople understand that they got to enter the conversation going on in that person's mind. So, okay, with a FSBO, a lot of the real estate community thinks that a FSBO is listing on their own only because they don't want to pay the commission. They want to save the money. They don't want to pay the commission. And they think that that's the primary reason a FSBO is listing on their own. Nope, that is not the primary reason. That's reason number 2, but not reason number 1. Reason number 1 is that they truly believe they can list their home on their own and do every bit of as good of a job as a real estate agent or better. They truly, truly do not believe that they need us. Now, here's what's really important. I want you to understand is you cannot change people's belief systems by talking at them or talking to them about how their belief system is wrong. So I'll give an example, right? So highly polarized political times that we are in, right? So go take a Biden supporter, go take a Trump supporter, lock them in a room and say, okay, you guys have an hour to convince each other that your way is right and convince the other person to switch parties. They're probably coming out of there in a fist fight, right? So belief systems are only changed through personal internal self-discovery. So they are not changed by us talking at or talking to people. That's just, again, Democrat, Republican, or different religions, tell them that their religion's wrong. Here's why it's wrong. Here's why. No, dude, it takes internal, experience. It takes different experiences. It takes internal, experiences. It might be internal or external, but belief systems are only changed internally. So they've got to self-discover this for themselves. So that's, that's talking about the psychology aspect here. Then when we look at timeline, the average for sell by owner, it typically takes around 8 to 10 weeks of them trying to list their home on their own before their belief system starts to be questioned internally, and before they start thinking of, oh shit, man, maybe this is more difficult than I thought. Maybe I need a real estate agent. Maybe like, right? So it takes that 8 to 10 weeks before that internal belief system starts to be questioned and changed for them. Why is this important? These two things allow us to conduct and come up with different strategies. Now, I'm going to go through these 5 different strategies with you. Now, if you get really good at these, I interchange them. And I do this with FSBOs. I do this with expires. I got, different expired scripts and strategies, but then based on how that opener goes and based on how their tone and their reaction to that, okay, like I can interchange these, so you can kind of be like a chameleon to then deploy the most effective strategy based on where that person is at and so forth. But I'm going to go through 5, with you today, because I want you to just be able to identify and have some different options of different effective things for you. But with this, when I understand timeline and psychology, it allows me to then craft my messaging to them. When I understand what they're going through, what they want, what their goals are, whatever, it allows me to craft a more effective message to them and meet them where they're at. Because when it comes to effective selling, you always want to be together. You never want to be against. So if you're coming at them and you're against, like an example of this is me coming out of the gate saying something like, oh, do you know only 8% of FSBOs sell on their own and 92% fail? And of those that do sell, they end up selling for less than are netting less than if they were to list with a real estate agent, even after paying the commission. Like, all you're doing right there is speaking at them and telling them how they're wrong, and boom, you become against them, right? So the surest way, the quickest way to piss off a prospect, piss off a lead, is to be against. We want to and need to be together. Then from there, so that's understand the psychology component, which that'll make more sense as we get into these 5 different strategies. Then from there, when we understand the timeline, okay, would it make sense then for me to just call FSBOs right out of the gate, one and done, peace out? If I know that, okay, as soon as this FSBO hits the market, if I call them day one, they hit the market, and if I can't convert at that point, then would it make sense for me to not follow up, knowing that the average takes 8 to 10 weeks for them to change their internal belief system and come to that self-discovery that, shit, this is harder than I thought. Maybe I need a real estate professional. No, that would not make sense, right? Like, you're going to have very low conversions and you're going to get the shit kicked out of you, with just getting defeated, lots of resistance, right? And will you convert some over time? Sure. But it's going to be such a low percentage. Like, you're just really wasting time at that point. Right. Okay. So then from there, it's going to make sure to have at least a 12-week follow-up plan, if not much longer than that. Because if 8 to 10 weeks is on the average before they start questioning that, okay, sometimes it's 16 weeks, sometimes it's 20 weeks, sometimes it's 13 weeks, right? So we want to make sure that we're following up long enough with enough frequency to stay in touch with them. So once they've made up their mind, because until they make up their mind that, hey man, I need to approach this with a different strategy, then from there, it's like, it's going to be very difficult to go out there and get that listing. Okay, so then from there, we're going to jump into these 5 different strategies. But before I do, if you are a real estate agent, you are a team leader, you are a brokerage owner, and your business is declined, or maybe it's staying stagnant, or it's just not growing at the rate that you want it to, and you do not know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go, I want to invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure strategy coaching call with me personally. This is going to be a Zoom call. We're going to jump on it for an hour and we're going to break down your business and we're going to do a deep dive. Again, this is a 100% free, 100% zero pressure coaching strategy call with me personally. We're going to break down where your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you are currently doing, what your biggest obstacles are. And I am going to map out, hey, if I'm you, here's exactly what I would do to get you from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. By the end of this session, you're going to know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. And I promise this will be massively valuable to you. I will get you dialed in. I 100% got you back. I promise you that. Now, we're going to spend 50 minutes on that. Then the last 10 minutes, full disclosure, yes, I'm going to spend a few minutes walking through some of the coaching programs, coaching options that I have, how it possibly can be a fit for you. And if it's something that, you're interested in, cool. And if not, hey, that's okay too. Everything I do is zero pressure. I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to, guilt you, whatever. It's for you, cool. If not, that's okay too. By the time we are done with this call, whether you ever do business with me or not, in a coaching capacity, you will know exactly what to do to go out there and get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So if you like to schedule this 100% free, 100% zero pressure coaching strategy call with me personally on Zoom, that you can go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Look, you got nothing to lose, everything to gain. I promise I will not waste your time with this. If you are struggling and you don't schedule this, like, I don't know how to help you, man. It's like you're drowning in quicksand. I got the rope. I'm throwing you the rope right now. Right? And if you refuse to grab that rope, like, hey, I can pull you out. But if you refuse to grab the rope, then it's your fault you drown in that quicksand. So I'm throwing you the rope. I'm throwing you the lifeline right now. Like, it's up to you if you want to schedule it. So if you want that, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. All right. So now let's jump back into, now we're going to go through the 5 highly effective FSBO strategies. Okay, the first one is a bottom line up front. Right now, this is going to be your traditional going after a FSBO where you're just trying to go in for the listing. This is kind of like your old school, scripting that we see online. And look, these can be effective because there's going to be a percentage of these that again, it's going to be low hanging fruit initially. Now I'm going to walk you through how to make this effective. But this is going to be, where it's just going in, hey, whatever their name is, you establish that it's them, so hey, this is just Joshua Smith here with XYZ Real Estate. I'm a local real estate professional here in the neighborhood. It looks like you got your property at 1234, West Main Street available for sale. Is your property still available for sale? Yeah, it's still available for sale. Okay, great. It looks like you're trying to sell your home on your own, but if there was a possibility, to get your home sold, get it sold in the timeline that you're looking to get it sold in, and ensure that you get top dollar and even net more money, even after paying a real estate agent commissions. If that was a possibility, would that be something that maybe you have interest in? Yeah, right. Then, okay, well, yeah, I guess, like you're going to get different objections, to that and whatever, right? But that is an example, the bottom line up front, kind of your traditional FSBO script that people follow up. Now, here's how to turn that into an effective script, right? Or not an effective script per se, but into an effective strategy, because a strategy is your overall effective plan, not just my immediate upfront script. Now, this comes down to a lot of skill set. Like when people, identify, give objections, again, I know how to identify what the core root objection is and how to keep that moving forward, but just to simplify this, so you have at least the skills to get started with this, right? If you can see some of the scripting that I did there, right? Hey, this is just Joshua Smith here with XYZ Real Estate. I'm a local real estate professional here in, the area that the property's in, right? Well, that creates into active listing mode because they assume that they should know me, right? If you keep a cool, collective, calm tone, you don't want to speak fast. I know I speak fast on this podcast and I come with a lot of energy and I speak fast on this. But if you ever watch me in a sales situation, it's like my personality, it's almost like I'm bipolar. I'm not, but like you'd almost think I was, because like in the rest of my life, man, I'm high energy. I just go. Everything I do is fast. Man, when I'm in a sales situation, slowing the tone, or slowing the pace way down, right? Kind of a very neutral tone, and when I say neutral tone, there's going to be times where, tone needs to change, based on the situation. 70% of sales is due to verbal and nonverbal cues. So we got to know that. We got to understand that when it comes to skill set, but then there, right. When I'm going into that bottom line upfront script, not only do I get them into active listening mode, but then when it's like, hey, I noticed that it looks like you got your property at 123, West Main Street listed for sale. It looks like you're trying to sell that on your own. Is your property still available? Yeah, it's still available. Okay, well, hey, I know you're trying to sell it on your own and, avoid having to go out there and pay that big commission check. And look, between you and I get that. I respect that. When I sell my own homes, that, man, I kind of hate paying that big commission check too. So I get and understand what you're trying to do. Hey, just out of curiosity, if there was a possibility that you could get your home sold in the time frame that you were looking to get it sold in, and net more money even after paying real estate commissions, but net more money than you would be able to net on your own. If that was possible, would you have interest in maybe exploring that route? in different ways, like saying the same thing, just slightly different way in that way than the, first way that I said it, but then from there, like, okay, that tonality, all that's important. I'm sprinkling in the possiblies, again, I'm slowing that down, just trying to make it where it's more conversational versus against, right. Some more together versus against, but with this, I know that the vast majority are going to say no, right? Because if I'm calling them day one, or as soon as I possibly can, I know that they're not yet there in the process. So then from there, right, when they say no to that, oh yeah, hey, no worries at all. Again, I just, I knew it was probably a shot in the dark, but just wanted to, throw it out there just in case. And look, again, as I said earlier, I totally get and honor, respect what you're trying to do. So with your permission, I understand that you don't want a realtor, you don't need a realtor. And look, you don't have to use one. I'm in Arizona. So in the state of Arizona, you don't have to use a real estate agent, but you might have some questions along the way. So not as your realtor, just as a friend, just as a resource. If okay with you, I'll check in just weekly, see if you have any questions. If you get an offer, you have any questions on it, you could run those by me, and not from me representing as a realtor capacity, but just, hey, as a resource, as a friend, I'm just a dude that that happens to be licensed here in the area. Just leverage me as a resource. And look, if you ever end up changing your mind, that you do want to hire a real estate agent, hey, hopefully you appreciate me being this resource, and you give me an opportunity to interview for the job. Does that sound fair? Right. So then, but then the key there is to not piss them off in that call, to show them that you're together. So what I say, that have respect and honor what you're trying, like all that was very intentional. But then the key now is the weekly follow-up calls. And look, I don't even need to sell them on those. Hey, just checking in. How's it going? Hey, any traffic on the property? Any questions that have come up for me? Hey, when you do get an offer, do you have a title company that you're going to go out there and utilize? Do you have, whatever, so I can send them vendor lists, which I'll get into here more in a moment. So, okay, that's going to be like your bottom line up front, where you can then transition that into, that was high conversions by staying in touch after the fact, because the fortune is in the follow-up here, like it is with so many. Okay, so then from there, we have one of the things that we're doing right now, which is highly effective, is an upfront discount strategy. I know this is highly controversial in our industry, right? But commissions are negotiable, man. Do what you want to do. Not saying you got to do this, but we started assessing this, looking at this, and we're like, okay, look, if we could go get these at a discount, create a win-win. But if we were able to reduce our time to where it only took about 2 hours, per total FSBO listing, like if I never had to step foot in that listing, never had to go for a listing presentation, I could do all that over the phone, never had to step foot in the property. Still sitting on my photographer, still doing a full listing service, but able to offer them a substantial discount. And I could still go out there, and we only listed, went after for sale by owners of a certain price point. So I'm still, making like $8,000 on a gross commission, well, then boom, it's a win-win. So when we're going in for these, essentially our strategy here is, reach out to them, identify that, ask me, hey, see, I'm on Zillow right now. So you got your property at 123 West Main Street. Just so you guys know too, I sure brought this up in the beginning. I just use Zillow to go out there and get these. So you can go on, like, you don't need to go buy FSBO lists, right? Like you can get them all off of Zillow for free. So then from there, it's like, hey, your property at 123 West Main Street. I'm just going, like, this isn't gonna be the full script. This is just giving a highlight of it, so but you can grasp the concept and come up with your scripting. So once I identify that, it's them and that the property is still available, then I'll lead into, hey, if because most FSBOs are willing to pay a buyer's agent to bring them a buyer, right? So hey, if an agent is able to bring a buyer, are you willing to work with them and offer a co-broke? And then once they say yes to that, then it's okay, well, average co-broke in our area is this, throw out, insert whatever percentage, is that what you're offering? Yeah, that's, we're willing to do that. Okay. Hey, I got something I just want to run past you, just in case it's something that works for you. If it doesn't, no worries at all. Just let me know, and no problem at all. But I want to run it by you just in case it's something that works for you. Hey, you're always willing to pay X percent. What if you just increase that a little bit to X? Allowed me to come in, list your property at a full listing service. Then I just go into that and I explain, though, because one thing that's really important is to explain, okay, like this is at a discounted rate but why am I doing it? People do not understand the reason to why you are doing this. They are going to feel as if there's some bait and switch or something, something wrong with that, like this too good to be true thing. So we're just very upfront and honest. When I say we, I'm talking about me, my team, my coaching clients, where it's like, hey, here's why we're able to do this. and give you full marketing services. Make sure that we get your property sold, get it sold for top dollar, get it negotiated, fight for you for top dollar, like just like I would at my listings that are paying X, right? And we're able to do this at this substantial discount, because and the reason why I'm able to do that is I need you to save me a little bit of time, right? And by this meaning, okay, hey, I'm not going to come out to your property for a traditional listing presentation. I got your property pull up on Zillow right now. I can see everything. We can have a conversation over the phone about everything I'm going to do for you, what I'm going to do, any listing paperwork, any contracts that we receive. We're going to negotiate all those over the phone and use electronic signature paperwork, to go through that. So all my time, like as far as marketing, contract negotiations, none of that's going to diminish. Right. It's just saving me those unnecessary hours of trips, so I'm just articulating. I mean, of course, I'm not saying this in this exact way to them. I'm just articulating this to them, so they get it. They understand that. Now I give them an option of, hey, it's not that we can't meet in person, but if we want to and need to, I just ask that you come to me. So if you're willing to save me, because look, it's important for FSBOs psychologically the reason number 2 is that they want to save save money, right? They want to save commissions. It's not reason number 1, it's reason number 2. But even when they get to that point of yes, I need an agent, doesn't mean that number 2's went away, right? Number 1 may go away, but then number 2 becomes reason number 1. Yeah, right. So this is why this strategy works so well and we convert so well, with it, if it's articulated and explained correctly. Okay, so then from there, strategy number 3 is to set up a time to view the property so you can establish the relationship and establish yourself as a resource, right? And you've probably heard these before. There's different ways of doing this, but it's, hey, notice you got your property at 123 West Main Street listed for sale. Looks like you're trying to sell that home on your own. Hey, just out of curiosity, if a realtor does have a buyer, are you willing to work with that realtor and pay a commission to that realtor if they bring a buyer? Well, yeah, because I want to make sure that they're, willing to say that. If they're just like, nope, absolutely not. I hate realtors, not willing to pay you guys a damn penny. You guys all suck. You're the evil, whatever. Okay, at that point, I'm not going to move forward with it, right? But then from there, now I don't believe in bait and switch. I do not believe in being dishonest. So with that, I'm not going to be dishonest. Oh, I might have a buyer. I'm like to view this property. I'm gonna say, well, hey, in that case, is it okay, with you? And I want to be upfront honest. Like I don't necessarily have a buyer right now. However, inside my database, I've got, insert X. So for me, I've got like 70,000 buyer leads in my database. You might have 700 or that, like whatever the number is, hey, I got about, 700 buyer leads, inside my database, plus with my social media following and whatnot. So I'm not saying that, I have a buyer because I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to be dishonest. I know a lot of realtors do those games, and that's just not my style. I believe in always being upfront and honest, but what I'd like to do with your permission, is, to stop by your property, take a look at it, take some photos, take a couple of videos, and then I'll blast that out to my database, blast on social media and see if it's possible I can drum up a buyer where maybe we can create a win-win scenario for each other. Is that something that, would be okay with you and that you'd have interest in doing? Yeah, right. Well, then from there, now I'm going to hold true to that because again, like it's a way to go out there and I can't tell you how many buyers I get over the years, not just for that FSBO. Sometimes that happens, but a lot of times it's just other people that have interest that reach out that then, need to go find something else that may not look for, whatever. For them with that, right? But then now we're face to face. Now I don't go in there and try to bait and switch them. I don't try to transition to a listing presentation. Right? What I'm trying to do is establish that relationship, and then just like in that bottom line upfront strategy, then position myself as that resource. So from there, I've developed a FSBO free resource kit. And this is a series of drip emails and a package that we give them, but like I tell them, hey, in the state of Arizona, you do not need to use a real estate agent to sell your property, but look, you're going to need to use a title company. You might need to have a home inspections, or a home inspector. You might need to, work with, have a lender or get the buyer to work with a lender. There's going to be certain vendors. Maybe you need a good handyman. So it's like, okay, we give them our preferred vendor package, give them blank purchase contracts to write the property on, right? Then I even have, drip emails that I ask their permission to put them on that teach them how to do their own open houses, to teach them how to market the property on social media, all of this stuff. So it's just value add, value add, value add, value add. Well, Josh, why would you help somebody sell their home on their own? Because I know the stats, right? Only 8% successfully sell on their own. 92%, don't. 60% end up eventually listing with a real estate agent, right? All I'm trying to do is establish myself as that resource, give value. Law of reciprocity, one of the most powerful laws of influence, kicks in when they hit that psychological aspect, that internal belief system shifts and changes where, oh shit, this is more difficult than I thought. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I need a real estate agent. Who then has the highest probability of them going with? Okay, it's gonna the probabilities greatly increases that it's gonna be you. Not gonna say it's gonna be you every single time. I mean, I put a lot of people I put on these resource kits, they end up sometimes going with somebody else, but it's rare. Usually if we do our job on it, the probability of them going with us is very, very high. On these, so that's kind of a setup of time to view. To go out there, establish that relationship, blast that out to your database, social media, try to drum up a client from it. I can communicate them what I'm doing on that and what's going on there, but it gives me an excuse and a reason to give them more value, stay in touch with them. So then boom, when that 8 to 10 or 12, 13 week time frame, whatever that time frame is, that they realize, shit, this is harder than I thought. Maybe I need a real estate agent. Boom, they're thinking of me. Then from there, strategy number 4 is just to lead in with the resource kit. Like if you don't want to view the property and you just want to be efficient, okay, just lead them with the resource kit. When I reach out to them, hey, so something like this, because there's these last 3, are really just value add. The first 2 were just much more bottom line up front, going and getting the listing, but then backed with that value add for those that say no. These other 3 are just, okay, let me lead with value add as that resource. So then I can follow up and get that business, when it comes to play. So then, okay, then I can just pitch and offer the resource kit. So hey, whatever their name is, this is Joshua, just Joshua Smith, your XYZ real estate agent. Hey, just so you know, this isn't a sales call. I know you're probably getting bombarded by other realtors begging you for your business. That's not my intent of calling. Look, I get, respect, and honor what you're trying to do, trying to sell your home on your own. To avoid paying that big commission. I get it between you and I, even though I'm a local real estate agent. When I sell my own properties, I hate paying that big commission too. So I get it. I respect it. I honor it. I promise you at no time in our conversation today or no time in any of our future, conversations will I ever ask you for a listing, will I ever beg you for, a penny out of your property, none of that crap. Right. So then why am I doing that? I'm doing that to get them to feel comfortable and get them to listen to what the pitch is. I call this pre-framing. If you do not pre-frame correctly, so then they'll actively listen, because if they don't actively listen, they're going to go into passive listening mode. They're going to fight or flight mode. So, and you've been in these situations. Just think about a time where somebody's been talking to you. You haven't actually even been listening because you're like, oh shit, dude, they're like, what am I going to say? What is my rebuttal going to be where I can get the hell out of the situation? That's called passive listening. I don't care how good your pitch is. If they're not actively listening, you're going to have low conversions. So, I pre-frame everything that I do. I pre-frame it so I can get them into active listening. So there's pre-framing and then there's reframing, because sometimes, you can get into the conversation, whether it be over the phone, in person, whatever, and then all of a sudden you kind of see them, starting to, get defensive again. Sales resistance starts kicking up again. Okay, then I'm going to reframe it. So just going back to the pre-frame, really get them in the mind. So pre-frame and reframing is just to keep them in active listening mode, right? So then from there, so I pre-framed it, right? Then from there, I go into offer the resource kit. Hey, you don't need to utilize a real estate agent. I know that you don't want to. And again, I respect that, honor that. So you don't need to in here in the state of Arizona. Now, here's what my free, so I just go through, I've actually put a kit together for, homeowners just like yourself. They're selling your home on your own that can, greatly help you increase the probability of doing so. And then I just go through what's inside there. Now, then I explain to them, like when you go through that resource kit of, like, they got to know, because there's no such thing as a free lunch. People are skeptical as much as ever. So then I got to explain as why it's a win for me. Hey, no, that, so this is why it's a value to you. Now, just so you know, here's why it's a win to me. Because I know that they're in their mind, they're going to be thinking, well, why would I say yes to this? Because why is it a win for you? So I'm just upfront with them. Hey, here's why here's why that's why it's what's value to you. Now, here's why this is a possible win for me. Number one, in the event that you're unsuccessful at selling your home on your own. Now, these things will help you, and hopefully you are, but in the event that you're not, hopefully you appreciate everything that I provided for you. And I'm not asking for your listing. As I said earlier, I'll never ask for your listing. I just ask for an opportunity to interview for the job. If you ever get to that point where you decide that maybe you need a real estate agent, then from there, okay, let's just say that never happens. Okay, look, you're selling your home. I don't know where you're going, but if you're looking to buy something here locally in the area, a lot of times the sellers are paying the commissions. I know this might change in the future, but at least as of right now, that's me talking to you, not to them. But as of right now, it's Um, so if you're looking to buy, sellers are the ones that pay the buyer's agent commission. If you want to go out there and buy something, I can help you go out there and find that. It doesn't cost you anything for me to represent and make sure we get you the best deal. And so maybe you appreciate all the support and help that I've given you here. And if you're looking at buying or relocating, I can help you with that. And again, if not, hey, that's okay too. Right. If that never comes together, that's okay too. Look, if that doesn't come together, look, other people in the area, you got friends, you got coworkers, you got family members. Maybe you appreciate all the things that I provided for you, even though you never use my services. Look, if you have a friend, family member, coworker, whatever in the area that's looking to buy or sell in the future, maybe they don't want to go on the path on doing it their own and they want to use an agent. Look, maybe you drop my line and refer them over to me, and I'm able to get rewarded in some capacity in that way in the future. And look, if that doesn't happen, that's okay too. I know this might sound a little woo-woo, but I've just found the more people that I help accomplish their goals, the more that my goals become accomplished. So even if none of those things come to fruition, that's okay. I'm just here to help serve support, whether we ever do business together in some way, shape, form, or fashion or not. Either way, it's okay with me. Yeah, right. So then I'm just explaining that to them, and then boom, I send that over to them. Yeah, right. And if they reject it, then I just will mail it out to them and still send it to them. And because a lot of times when they're saying no, again, it's this can't be true. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Right. So they're looking, though, there's got to be some type of bait and switch. So then I still send it to them, and then they realize, oh shit, this isn't a bait and switch. Yeah, right. This is of actual value. This dude is doing what he said he was going to do. Right. So it's increasing their, positive perception of me. And then I'll continue following up with them. Okay. So the last one here is offering an open house. So this is, this has been one of my long-term favorite strategies because it's like we're already doing open houses anyway. At least that's one of the niches that my team goes after. So then from there, it's like, okay, I like doing open houses on FSBOs if your broker allows you to do so. Because it's like, I'm already going to get the traffic from the open house. Now I have the probability of meeting a seller, right? Offering value to them. I also stack on the resource kit with this, but then we end up listing 38% of the FSBO open houses that we do the open house on. So I already get the traffic from the open house. Then, okay, it increases. Like if I'm already doing an activity, I might as well increase my chances by almost 40% of also getting an additional listing out of that activity. So people are like, oh, I don't like open houses because it's just buyers. I'm like, well, shit. I get almost as many listings out of my open houses as I do buyers. I mean, we're going to get open houses out of nosy neighbors and our seller leads out of nosy neighbors and other people too. Yes, we're going to get, a little bit more buyer side traffic from the traffic coming in the open house, but from, the nosy neighbors and the people that do come through that end up being listings. Plus, when we're doing these on FSBOs, we end up getting overall more listings out of our open houses than we actually do buyers, even though it's a combination of both, right? So then from there, same thing, same kind of script as the last one, where I go in there of, hey, I know that you're not looking at or, looking to sell your home on your own, save that commission. I respect it. I honor it. I'm using all those same, scripting, but instead of going in and just offering the resource kit, hey, I got a win-win proposition I want to run by you, just in case it's something that works for you. And if it does work for you, great. If not, hey, that's okay. Just let me know. No worries at all. But I want to run it by you just in case. What I'd like to propose is that you allow me to do a mega open house event on your property. Now, as I do this event, like I'm going to market it, I'm going to promote it. I'll do all the setup, I'll do all the work, right? My average open house gets X amount of people through right now. So whatever your average open is, so if it's 30 people, 12 people, whatever, just tell them, don't like lie to them about the number. Cause when you're following up with them, and they're like, well, you said you get 75 people through, you only got 3 people through. Like we want to be, I want to be realistic with that so they know what to expect. And then from there, like I just explained to them, hey, you get any leads that come through. I'm going to work the leads. I'm going to follow up with the leads, but I'm going to give you the lead list as well. So then you're able to follow up with them. And if anybody that I have a conversation that comes through your open house has interest in your property, wants to make an offer on your property, I'm going to give them to you. I'm going to share their contact info with you. You take it, you run with it. Like I said, you never owe me a commission. You never owe me a cent. Like you can go out there, you get paid, boom. So I cannot promise you that we're going to sell your home through this open house event, but I can promise you it's greatly going to increase the exposure on your property. Real estate's just a numbers game. The more people that go through, walk through, more potential buyers that you get through your property, the higher probability that somebody's going to fall in love with your property, want to offer, top dollar offer on your property. So this exponentially is going to increase the amount of people that come through your property. And again, the likelihood that we get you, somebody has interest in your property, and anybody has interest in your property, I'm going to give them to you. You write the deal. Again, you do not owe me a cent, right? Now, some of my for sale by owner clients, choose to and ask me to do the paperwork, and that I might charge a little bit lesser a fee than listing your property because I'm just doing paperwork at that point to make sure everybody's represented. And if that's something that you want me to do, I'm happy to do it, but you have to approach me for that. Like I'm going to stick to my word. As I told you earlier, I'm not going to ask you for a cent, ask you for your listing. Like that's something that you need to approach me about. Yeah, right. Now, here's why it's a win for me. Let's just say I get 17 people through your open house. One of them loves your property, wants to write an offer on your property. I give that person to you. You go write the offer. You don't pay a cent in commissions. Boom, it's a win for you. I just had 16 other people through your property. The vast majority of those are not working with another real estate agent. For whatever reason, your house didn't work for them. I'm going to convert at least one, if not two of those into buyer clients. I'm going to go out there and sell them something else. I'm going to make a bunch of money through that. So this is a way for you to win and a way for me to win. And if it's explained correctly, right, they understand why it's a win-win. Right. Then from there, I'm already demonstrating. I got the relationship with them. I'm demonstrating I'm working with them. I stack on the resource kit with them. I'm checking in weekly with them. And 38% of those, bam, we end up listing usually within about that 5 to 6 week time frame after we do the open house. Right. So very, very effective strategy. So there's 5 different strategies. And you could do a combination of these, right? Because it's like, okay, when I do the open houses, I'm only doing those in very specific areas, very specific price points, I'm really picky on where I do my open houses. So then from there, okay, maybe I want these FSBOs where I'm going to go the open house pitch. Then maybe, okay, these FSBOs, that are outside of my market, outside of my territory, like still in my market, but maybe it's, an hour and a half away, so maybe I just go with them with a discount strategy. So I never have to, like, you can do a combination of these. Yeah, right. And then you can mold it, right? So like, okay, maybe I'm going over here and I get shut down right here out of the gate. Okay, then I can mold that and transition that into, just the free resource kit strategy, right? So, like if I call them and they just shut me down, hey, look, I mean, I'm not here to work with realtors. I'm listing my home. I don't want to hear anything. Hey, yeah, I totally get that, totally understand that. And just so you know, I'm not here to sell you anything. I apologize, on the behalf of real estate agents out there. I know they're blowing you up. I apologize about that. But look, this is not a sales call. I'm not here to sell you a damn thing. Right. So I'll kind of be like, if they're assertive with me, I'll be a little more assertive with that. Hey, man, I'm sick of you guys calling me. I'm not willing to work with. Hey, I get that. I understand that. And that's not my intent of calling. Look, this is not a sales call. I'm not calling to get a damn thing out of you. Here. So then boom, I can then position into the resource kit, right? Like, okay, so this way you can be fluid, right? So when you have a multitude of different strategies, okay, you can then gauge their personality type and what goes on, or have different strategies based on different areas that work great for you. All of those things I'm doing inside my real estate business. So these are, again, 5 effective strategies for you to go out there and crush it with FSBOs. All of these are highly effective, and hopefully you understand why they're effective, through that deep explanation there. All right, so I want to end it with this again, because I just want to make sure that if you guys need help, you're taking advantage of this. So if you are a realtor, team leader, brokerage owner, your business is not where you want it to be. Like you're operating down here. Your potential is way up here. You just do not know exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. I invite you to schedule 100% free, 100% zero pressure strategy coaching call with me personally. This is going to be an hour-long call on Zoom with you and me. Yeah, right. So it's and the reason why I stress that is a lot of people show up to these calls and they're like, "Oh, I didn't expect you to be here." I'm like, "Dude, yeah, no, this is me and you. This is a coaching call. This isn't just, this isn't some freaking just sales call. Here's my coaching shit, right now. This is a coaching call with me and you walking through your business, and it's going to be dedicated about you and your business to help you get dialed in. We're going to talk about where your business is at right now, currently, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what your biggest obstacles are, what you're currently doing. Then I'm going to map out, hey, if I'm you, here's exactly what I would do to get you from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner. So by the end of this Zoom coaching call, you are going to know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. I'm going to eliminate that guesswork for you. So if you are stuck and you do not know what to do, I highly encourage you to schedule this. Man, if you're drowning in quicksand, right, like I'm throwing you the rope. So you grab that rope, I'm going to yank you out, right? But if you choose to not hold on to that rope and choose to drown, I can't help you. Nobody can help you at that point. So I'm throwing you the lifeline here, and I'm going to pour into you and make sure that this is extremely, extremely powerful, great use of your time, where I promise you will not leave this Zoom coaching call with not knowing exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. And full disclosure, yes, we're going to spend about 50 minutes on that. I'm going to spend the last 10 minutes of the call walking you through some of my, coaching options, see if it's a possible fit for you. If it is, cool. If not, that's okay too. Everything I do is zero pressure. Not going to beg it, not going to guilt you. Whether you ever do anything with me or not from a coaching capacity, this call will be massively beneficial. This coaching call for you, I can promise you that. So you got everything to gain, absolutely nothing to lose. So if that's something that you want to do, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. All right, guys, hope that this was helpful. Go crush those FSBOs, and I will see you next time. Peace.